Have you ever noticed this very American paradox? By day, you're in full boss mode, stacked calendar, quick decisions, everything under control. But when night falls, beneath that armor of discipline and competence, a completely opposite desire shows up to let go, to set the weight down in a space safe enough that you don't have to control anything. If you've ever felt that, you're not alone. As a Stoic-oriented psychologist who's worked in the US for many years, I see this paradox every week in my office, on Zoom, in real messy human stories. One of my clients, let's call her Ava, is the COO of a San Francisco startup. Her schedule is like an airport at rush hour. Everyone lines up for her signal. Ava told me, "I love my job. I'm great at managing variables. But at night, I just don't want to decide anymore." She uses the word rest to describe the desire to be guided in an intimate space, not a weak surrender, a conditional rest, conditional on safety, trust, and consent. This is the power paradox. The more powerful you are in the world, the deeper and more magnetic the moment of letting go. Because contrast makes sensation vivid and real. Have you felt that? All day you live in your head, Excel, emails, KPIs. Then at night your body reminds you it has a voice too. From a Stoic perspective, emotions are data, not commands. Tonight's data says, enough control, now my body wants to trust, and trust needs a frame. That frame isn't a secret trick. It's simply a man who leads himself first, keeps his word, honors boundaries, regulates emotions, and an honest before, during, after conversation. Picture this. You're at dinner together. You've just steered your team through a crisis. You're telling stories, people laugh, and you're still in the familiar position, at the wheel. Then he leans in, voice steady and warm. "Tonight I want us to head home early, turn off our phones, and just be together." How does that feel? That's not a command. It's a proposal with a spine. Clear, warm, and spacious enough for yes, no, not sure yet. If you nod, it's not because you're pressured, it's because in that moment you feel a shoulder broad enough to rest on. Being led only makes sense when you choose to let go, when you feel safe enough to let go. Another client, Maya, a medical resident in Boston, shared, "Every day I make dozens of decisions that affect others' health. At night, I want someone calm enough to slow down with me, ask what I want, then guide me out of my overworked mind." We designed a small ritual. Before intimacy, they asked two questions. Do you feel safe? And is there anything you want more of or to stop? You'd be surprised. Just those two lines calm the amygdala, the brain's alarm center. Neuroscience calls this co-regulation. When one person shows up calmly, the other's physiology tunes to it. From there, surrender isn't a free fall. It's a soft release with a parachute. People ask me, so what is polarity really? Some rigid formula? Number. I'm not talking about gender stereotypes. I'm talking about a dance. When one person is in the lead direct initiate pole with respect, the other, if willing, can shift into soft open receive. The attraction lives in the space between the poles, but the dance only works when both hear the same music. Here, the music is consent that's clear, enthusiastic, and continuous. You can stop at any time, and the other person listens immediately. Without that, everything collapses. I think of Elena, a teacher in Seattle who used to fear stating her desires. "I'm afraid of being judged as contradictory," she said. "By day, I'm strong. At night, I want the safety to be a little soft." We practiced naming. By day, I choose control. By night, I choose trust. Stoicism teaches us to tell the difference between what's in our control, words, boundaries, choices, and what isn't, others' assumptions. When you name things accurately, you reclaim freedom. Elena tried a short script. "What helps me feel safe is you asking first, slowing down, and holding me afterward." That's it. The result? She became a co-creator in her own relationship. One misconception we need to break. Decisive means never ask. Number. Decisive means clear, intentional, and slow enough to listen. A truly grounded man doesn't run from no. He respects it, thanks you for the clarity, and stays warm. That response creates psychological safety, the key that makes polarity erotic rather than dangerous. Try a tiny practice tonight. Before any intimacy, ask each other, what three things help you feel safe enough to let go? Write them down. Agree on a simple stop signal. And don't skip aftercare. Those few minutes of stillness, holding each other, a glass of water, and the question, how do you feel right now? Aftercare isn't a formality. It's the cement of trust. In my clinical experience, couples who do consistent aftercare report much higher satisfaction and durability. You might be thinking, I'm strong all day. I'm fine, great. But also ask, do I have a runway to land on? Who do I trust enough to set the controls down with? If that answer isn't clear, maybe what you need isn't more control, but an honest agreement around rest. Stoicism doesn't tell us to deny desire. It teaches us to steer it with wisdom and virtue. Wisdom here is knowing what your body needs. Virtue is creating the safety that lets both people be free. One more time because it matters. You're not contradictory if you lead masterfully by day and long to be led at night. You're living the full depth of being human, where strength and trust lock together like key and lock. And to the men listening, remember, to be trusted to lead, start by leading yourself. Breathe slower, be clear, be respectful, listen. Both of you will feel the shift, not just in your heads, but in your bodies. If this resonates, tell me, down in the comments, one thing that helps you feel safe enough to let go. Sometimes one honest sentence tonight opens the stretch of sky you've always deserved. Have you ever wondered why such a human need, feeling safe enough to let go, gets hidden so often? Not because it's wrong, usually because we fear it will be seen wrong. In therapy, I hear the same refrain. If I tell the truth, what will they think of me? In America, where we praise self-sufficiency, the label strong can turn into heavy armor. You wear it through meetings, pressure, expectations, and by night that armor makes you hesitate to show your soft truth. A client I'll call Jay, an attorney in Chicago, gave a sad smile. I argue all day. I win cases. I lead a team. But if I admit that in my relationship I want to be led a little, I'm scared they'll devalue me. They'll say, oh, so she's actually weak. See it? The biggest fear isn't the desire itself. It's the gaze of others. We don't hide from emotions. We hide from judgment. Then there's a second fear, being exploited. Personal history, violated boundaries, relationships where decisive blurred into coercive, gets stored in the body as memory. Neuroscience calls it a memory of safety. When the body hasn't had enough safe experiences, it triggers alarms early. So even when the mind understands, I want to let go in a safe frame, the body tightens. Is this really safe? I've watched many women deny their needs simply to protect themselves from old risks. They say, I don't need that, while eyes drop and fingers knot. That's not lying, it's self-protection. There's also a cultural layer. We live in a time when anything can be clipped, labeled, and tried in the court of public opinion with a 15-second video or rushed status. Cancel culture, personal brand, professionalism on LinkedIn, these create a backdrop where private parts of our humanity feel fragile in the open. A manager in New York told me, I've climbed too far to be here. I can't give anyone the chance to twist my story. So she stays silent, not because she's ashamed, but because she doesn't trust the room. Stoicism offers a crucial distinction. What I control versus what I don't. I don't control people's tongues. I do control who I invite into my private space, how I describe my needs, and when I say stop. In other words, don't drag your tender truths into the plaza. Choose the right room. Don't expect the crowd to understand. Build language so the trustworthy person can. Picture this. You're in a quiet kitchen with warm light. No audience, no social media, no judges. Just two people, two breaths. You don't need rhetoric. You need honesty. By day, I like to drive. At night, I want the passenger seat. I want to know that if I let go, I'm still safe. It's brave and specific. It doesn't say, I'll hand you everything. It sets the condition, safety. Specific language protects you from exploitation and opens the door to deeper intimacy. What if I say it and they laugh, judge, or use it against me? The Stoic answer can sound simple, even harsh. They're not your person. Virtue isn't knowing pretty theories. It reveals itself in the first reaction to your vulnerability. A worthy person slows down, asks what you want, listens to know, and remembers. If you find yourself forever defending your boundaries, you don't need a better explanation. You need a better audience. Clinically, when a woman hides or denies, three layers usually operate at once. Layer 1, social labels. Fear of losing the community, strong identity. Layer 2, body memory. Past experiences make the nervous system guard. Layer 3, language gap. We never learned how to talk about safe surrender without swinging to too rough or too vague. Stack all three, and silence looks like the safest bet. So what's the way out? I'm not inviting you to confess in the town square. I'm inviting you to build a room. First room, inside yourself. Write what you really want in slow, clear language. I want to be led in moments X when I feel Y with boundaries Z. Second room, with someone you trust, have a short, slightly awkward, but spine-honest conversation. Start with something simple. I want to talk about what helps me feel safe. If you don't agree after you hear me, I still appreciate you. But I need to say it, that opener is your parachute. I recall N, a founder in Austin. She cringed when I suggested stating her need. That sounds weak. 3 weeks later, she returned. I said it. No miracle happened, but I don't have to pretend anymore. She described the feeling with a beautiful word, whole. Stoicism doesn't promise the world will understand. It promises that when you live your values, you remain whole, whether or not others agree. Have you felt that, torn between wanting and fearing being misunderstood? If yes, remember, hiding isn't always avoidance. Sometimes it's waiting for the right person, right time, right words. When the moment comes, you don't need a speech, just a few clear, kind, boundaried lines. The rest, how they respond, is outside your control. But the quality of the truth you spoke, that's yours. If this part touches you, do one small thing tonight. Sit still for 3 minutes, hand to chest, breathe slow, and write the first line of your room. Maybe just, what makes me feel safe is, once that sentence exists on paper, fear eases. Not because the world got kinder, but because you got clearer. And clarity, in therapy and in Stoicism, is the first step toward freedom. Let me slow down here, because this is where many relationships switch on. Active consent isn't a nod at the beginning. It's a flow, clear, enthusiastic, continuous. When two bodies and two minds keep nodding to each other, minute by minute, through words, eyes, breath, you feel a special kind of attraction. Safety becomes arousing. I call it the erotic of clarity. A client, Ava, once said, when he asks in a guessing, approval-seeking way, I feel like I'm taking a test. But when he states what he wants and invites my yes or no, I feel relaxed, even excited. Same communication, totally different effect. One seeks permission, the other offers choice. Active consent sounds less like, can I, and more like, I want this. How do you want it? Let's find our shared rhythm. Decisiveness here means spine, not demand. Nervously speaking, the moment you feel safe, especially safe from judgment or pressure, the social branch of your parasympathetic system, ventral vagal, switches on. Heart rate steadies, breathing deepens, your face softens. That's the physiology of subtle pleasure. The body is ready to open. So a well-timed question, a waiting gaze, a hand that pauses for your yes, doesn't kill the mood. It amplifies it because your brain registers, I'm safe, I'm respected, I have a voice. How do you make consent erotic, not bureaucratic? Try a 3-beat dance. Before, during, after. Before, be clear about wants, boundaries, and traffic lights. Agree on a simple green, yellow, red. Green equals keep going. Yellow equals slow/adjust. Red equals stop now. Add a safety door line. Anytime you say stop, I will stop. We'll hold each other, drink water, and talk. One sentence can change the air in the room. A grounded man isn't afraid of no. He knows it's part of trust. During keep it short, warm, and rhythmic, prioritize tempo over program. Think like a musician. Listen to breath. Notice shoulders softening or tightening, eyes opening or drifting. Tiny lines carry the erotic of clarity. Is this okay? Then wait and trust the answer. Slower. Hold eye contact, hold rhythm. Let them lead back. Want anything different? Invite, don't quiz. You'll be surprised. Those 1 to 2 beats of waiting raise the heat because that's when you truly sync. Decisive here isn't get it done fast. It's leading the tempo and leaving space. Aftercare, the skipped step. Aftercare isn't customer service. It's the closing ritual that completes the cycle. Arousal, arrow peak, arrow landing. Without a close, the body stays open too long, gets tired, tender, misreads. With a close, desire compacts into trust. Hold long enough for heart rates to drop, 30 to 90 seconds. Forehead to forehead, a few deep breaths, then 3 small lines. What I appreciated, what I'd tweak next time. How do we care for each other now? Water, a warm towel, a minute of quiet, tiny details, big trust. Many tell me that when their partner hands them water before they ask, the body understands. I'm being looked after. That sense of being looked after is the fuse for safe eroticism. Another example, Maya and Theo. Theo once feared asking would kill the vibe, so he guessed. Maya ended up bracing. Sometimes he guessed right, sometimes not. We practiced 3 lines, lead, invite, wait, lead. I want to try. Clear, no hedging. Invite. How does that feel? Do you want it? Wait. 2 to 3 silent beats so Maya can check her body and answer. That's it. 3 months later, they laughed. We say less, but get each other more. Funny how right words need fewer words. A delicate point. Sometimes people say yes under invisible pressure, fear of displeasing, killing the vibe, being judged. If you lead with virtue, you learn to hear the hesitant yes. Tight shoulders, shallow breath, eyes scanning. That might be yellow, not green. Rescue the moment. Let's slow down, or want to pause. That sensitivity is beautiful power. Power that self-limits to keep both safe. And self-limiting, believe me, is deeply attractive. Picture a simple scene. The lights are low. You take their hand, pause half a beat, meet their eyes. I'm here. I want it, if you want it too. If not, let's just hold each other, no begging, no manipulation. A spined invitation that puts the other person at the center of choice. If the invitation is received, let the bodies continue. One shared deep breath, a slower beat, a soft, still good. This isn't a checklist. It's the aesthetics of clarity. Stoicism reminds us, control what you can, conduct, calm, honesty, not the other's reaction. You can't make anyone want what you want. You can make the space between you a place where both yes and no are equally safe. When no is still loved, any yes, if it arrives, comes whole, without regret. And a whole yes carries a different heat, the heat of freedom. If you're still with me, try a tiny ritual tonight. Before intimacy, each person names one thing you want, one thing that sounds interesting but needs to go slow, and one thing you don't want. Agree on a yellow signal. When you're done, take 3 minutes of aftercare. Hold, breathe, name one good thing. Simple. I've watched so many couples transform with just those 3 minutes. When consent becomes a living dance, when clarity pairs with warmth, you'll understand why I say active consent is erotic. In that moment, we stop acting. We choose each other, this minute and the next. Now imagine a stringed instrument. One string is tightened, the other loosened. When opposing forces find balance, the sound is warm and full. Polarity is like that. Not rigid gender roles, but 2 people taking complementary stances for a while. One steady leading clear, one open feeling responding. When a man has inner weight, Calm, sure, respectful guidance. The woman's body often falls out of her mind and back into sensation. Breath slows, shoulders drop, eyes become bright and at ease. Elena described it beautifully. When he approaches with quiet in his eyes, it's like someone shuts the door in a noisy room. I don't have to manage dinner anymore or read his mind. I can be in my body. What she responds to isn't theatrics or brute force. It's safety with a shape. How he stands, the slower cadence, open hands rather than grabbing, a spined invitation that still leaves room for no. That's steady masculinity, self-regulation, holding the frame, leading tempo, not domination. Physiologically, that presence invites co-regulation. You see tiny cues, shoulders sink a half inch, breath deepens, the mouth softens. Leading energy doesn't need to be loud, it's quiet power, and that quiet allows the open pole to emerge. Listening to the body, voicing wants, letting feelings pass without constant mental interference. To keep polarity magnetic rather than tug-of-war, a few truths matter. First, it's not fixed. Many happy couples rotate roles. Some nights she leads, clear, initiating, setting tempo. Other nights he receives, soft, sensing, yielding. The magic is in flexibility, not dogma. Stoicism teaches us to adapt. You're drained today from meetings, so I'll be the spine. Tomorrow I'm tired, so you hold the frame. Mature love is taking turns being the anchor. Second, polarity doesn't cancel consent, it rests on it. Because no is always safe, yes can be whole. A solid leader knows when to stop, hears the yellow inside a hesitant nod, and slows at the slightest off-rhythm gaze. You don't need many words, you need a listening body. Polarity lives outside the bedroom too. Friday evening, Ava comes home with a buzzing head. Her partner doesn't lecture on mindfulness. He proposes, dim the kitchen lights, slow music, a warm glass of water placed in her hand, a palm on her back. You're good. I've got the rest tonight. That's one person building a life frame, the other allowed to set her load down. Enough repetitions, and the body learns a new memory. Here, I can fall safely. Over time, desire changes tone. Deeper, warmer, less flashy, more enduring. How do I lead without tipping into control? In therapy, I say, lead yourself first. Keep small promises, be on time, speak less and do more, repair quickly. Ordinary bricks that build the safe house where openness can live. Inner solidity doesn't need to press because certainty radiates from a settled nervous system. And if you want to bloom on the open side, you don't need to act fragile. You need to trust your listening. Trust your right to say no, to change your mind, to slow down. When your body knows every door has an inside handle, it opens more easily. That's a very stoic courage, the courage to trust. Try a tiny evening drill. If you want to lead before touching, be still for one beat. Breathe slow. Drop your shoulders. Meet their eyes. Speak a spined invitation. I want Wes, if you want it too. Then wait. If you want to open, hand to heart, breathe, ask. Is my body saying yes, no, or slow? Whatever the answer, say it. Do just that, and you'll hear the strings sing, round, warm, unhurried. At bottom, Stoicism doesn't assign you hard or soft. It trains self-mastery so you're free to choose the role love needs. On the days you're steady, you lead. On the days you need a shoulder, you soften. Then polarity stops being a battle and becomes an art of arrangement, two people taking turns being each other's home. If you're a man, here's a truth that sounds boring, but decides everything. To be trusted to lead, lead yourself first. Lasting attraction doesn't come from a few gravelly lines or an alpha pose. It leaks out of how you live. Small habits repeated until the other person's body can actually rest in your presence. I worked with Theo, 34, a product manager in Denver. I want my girlfriend to feel safe enough to let go, he said. But things get out of sync. A day in his life, not enough sleep, random meals, 15 minutes late is normal, deadlines done last second. Nothing evil, but another body can't rest in a system that's unpredictable. Before leading, We did something very unsexy. Be on time, keep your word, and know when to stop. Keeping promises is brick one. So small you think you can skip it. But for the other person's nervous system, each kept promise. Texting when you said, showing up at 7:30, bringing the jacket she mentioned, becomes a safety cue stored in body memory. 4 weeks in, Theo said, she exhales deeper when I say, I'm here, and I'm actually there. Funny, but punctuality can be erotic. It says, you can lean on me. Healthy boundaries are brick too. A boundary-less man looks kind but isn't trustworthy. He can't protect the frame for himself or you. James, a veteran in Austin, I don't know how to say no. Then I snap, we practiced a short, spined, warm line. I want Rishiri, but Thursday night I need sleep. Let's do Saturday. Respect your limits, and they'll trust you to respect theirs. Boundaries aren't walls. They're frames so the picture is clear. Emotion regulation, not suppression, is brick three. Stoicism doesn't fossilize your heart. It delays behavior until reason returns. Theo used a 60-second landing. Breathe 4, 4, 4, 4, name 3 feelings, choose one kind action. Mid-argument, he paused. I'm irritated and defensive. I need 2 minutes for water, then we'll talk. Attraction isn't always thunderous lines. Sometimes it's not harming the relationship because of a passing wave. Then we face the tender thing. Healing the wound around power. Most of us carry old scenes, dismissed, betrayed, compared. If you won't face them, the wound turns into proof-seeking. You lead to compensate, not to support. It smells like hurry, showiness, impatience. I ask men to do something tough but freeing. Write 3 moments you felt disempowered, name the core feeling, and write a new ending. And today, I choose, not magical, effective. You stop dragging the past into the present. Named wounds let power return to its quiet form. Not loud, but weighty. Where to start daily? Try a 3-2-1 ritual. 15 minutes, no app. Morning, 3 minutes to frame yourself. One tiny promise, brick. One rest window, one value line. Today I'll lead with calm. Midday, 2 minutes to reset. Step outside, 5 slow breaths. Text clearly. I'll be there at 7:30. If I'm late, I'll ping you by 10. Night, 1 minute to tally. How many bricks kept? Which missed? Repair with one small action tomorrow. It sounds ordinary, but ordinary, repeated, becomes inner credibility, the invisible scent of a man worth trusting. Language matters. Good leaders use fewer, clearer words. In love, leading isn't assigning tasks like a foreman. It's a spine proposal, clear want, options open, your responsibility for the plan. I booked 7:30 at your favorite spot. If you'd rather stay in, I'll bring groceries and cook. You choose spine, no fog. Options, they remain at the center. And the body leadership uses it to contain, not crowd. Shoulders down, warm eyes, open hands, slower cadence. You become a container so emotions don't spill over. I joke in session, flex your frame, not your abs. The frame is breath, time, invitation, the ability to stop. When the frame is firm, the rest happens. Back to Theo. After 3 months, he wasn't a new person. He just slept enough, was on time, spoke less and clearer, apologized quickly, and stopped in time. His girlfriend said my favorite line, with you, I feel quiet. That quiet is the permit to open, the runway for deeper desire. The reason leading doesn't need a show. If you mess up, everyone does. Practice repair. Name it specifically. Thank the boundary. Ask for one tweak next time, and keep it. Attachment research shows lasting couples aren't fight-free. They repair fast, warm, and clean. A self-led man chooses the relationship over his ego at the moment it matters. Stoicism whispers, control the virtue of your actions, not others' impressions. You can't force trust. You live in a way that, if trust comes, it comes to the right person. When it knocks, leading stops being a performance. It becomes a sweet responsibility. Build the frame, hold the tempo, and always leave room for freedom, yours and the person you love. Tonight, before bed, write one line. Tomorrow, which promise will I keep and where will I stop? Then do it. Repeat for a week. You'll feel the other person's body soften when you walk in. Not because you're louder, but because you have weight. And that quiet weight is the clearest sign of a man who knows how to lead himself. If I had to compress this into one sentence, the desire to let go of control only blooms on three legs: safety, trust, and choice. Without them, surrender is a risky fall. With them, it's a virtuous rest, a way for the body to set down the day and the heart to breathe inside a steady frame. Ever stand on that thin line between "I'm still strong" and "I want someone to hold the frame tonight"? Nora, a finance manager in Dallas, said it best. "I don't want anyone to decide for me. I just want to know that if I choose not to decide, I'm still safe." That's the key. Letting go isn't taken from you, it's given to a trustworthy person inside a clear frame. Stoically, this is consistent. We choose choices, words, boundaries, commitments, and release what we can't control. Others' judgments, final outcomes. Safe surrender isn't tossing yourself to fate. It's higher level self-governance. Choosing whom to trust, how, and when to stop. You don't lose freedom. You use freedom to rest. Picture an ordinary evening. You get home with a head full of unread emails. He says, "I want us to slow down tonight. I've set everything up. You take a warm shower. I'll handle the rest." How does that feel? You pause 2 beats, check your body. Yes, no, slow, and answer. If yes, you hand over a slice of control within consent. If no, you're still held and respected. If slow, he reduces the tempo. Right there, virtue is at work. Respect, clarity, patience. And that's what makes desire warm and deep. Common myth: if we name wants and boundaries, it won't feel natural. But natural without safety is merely instinct. Civilized natural is clarity that protects both. Attachment research shows when there's predictable safety, the nervous system shifts from vigilance to connection. Heart rate softens, the body opens. So those supposedly mood-killing lines, "You okay?" "Slower?" "Want anything different?" are actually switches that turn fear into trust, awkwardness into warmth. Another client, Lena, an architect in Portland, feared honesty because of old memories. "We didn't rush bravery. We built a small bridge. 3 steps, as easy as breathing. Step 1, name the want specifically. I want you to lead tonight. Start slow, lots of warm touch, fewer words. Step 2, set the limit. If I tap your shoulder twice, that's yellow. Slow down or stop. Step 3, aftercare. When we're done, let's hold for 3 minutes, water, and each say one thing we liked." 3 weeks later, she said, "When my body knows there's a break, it drives smooth. Good breaks make the trip more fun, not less." What does a trustworthy man look like? He self-leads, keeps time, keeps word, repairs quickly, holds the frame, clear proposals, options, accepts no, and listens with his body, shoulders, tense, slow. Breath goes off. Stop. He doesn't overwhelm you. He makes you quiet. Quiet is the ground of depth. And you, the one who longs to let go, don't need to act frail to be led. You need clarity with yourself. Where, with whom, in what way, and what your stop signal is. Write one line tonight. I want to be led when, I feel safe when. My stop signal is, don't make them read your mind. Hand them the map. Stoicism keeps reminding us, virtue isn't in speeches, it's in behavior as the heat rises. That's when the old habits call: control, rush, silence. If you lead, remember beautiful power always self-limits. Stop at yellow, step back half a beat to invite them forward. If you're letting go, remember the courage to say, stop, slower, hold me more. Short lines that preserve trust. One small detail many couples miss. A good memory from last time determines 60 to 70% of how open the next time will be. So after intimacy, lightly check 3 things. One thing you liked, One thing you'd change. One thing you're grateful for. 50 seconds. Those 50 seconds encode safety in the nervous system, making the next surrender faster, deeper, easier. To tie philosophy back to life, Stoics don't deny desire. They channel it through wisdom and virtue. Letting go of control isn't the opposite of self-mastery. It's self-mastery expressed. I choose a worthy person, I choose a safe frame, and I choose to trust within my right to stop at any time. Live like that, and you're not yanked by instinct or public opinion. You're led by the good itself, even in your most passionate moments. If this resonates, try a small ritual tonight. Before you begin, ask exactly 3 questions. What helps you feel safe? What's your yellow? How do you want us to care for each other after? Then do exactly that. If something needs adjusting, say it within 24 hours. Short, warm, clear. You're not just nurturing desire, you're building a home where surrender isn't a free fall, but a soft landing into trustworthy arms. When I say a man who unlocks the fantasy, I don't mean a loud performance or dramatic lines. I mean a very quiet quality. No pleading, no wavering. Calm, proactive, framed, using few solid words to guide her from her head into her body. You don't pull, you invite. You don't set the stage for yourself. You build the frame for both. Caleb, 36, an architect in LA, loved a brilliant woman whose schedule overflowed. Every night she came home like a control center. I used to try to create a vibe, lots of words, plans, detail, he said. She smiled, but her mind kept spinning. What changed wasn't a trick. It was how Caleb showed up. We practiced 3 moves. Be on time, pause before touch, and make a spined invitation. That night, he walked into the kitchen, set his phone down, met her eyes, breathed slow, hands open. Tonight, I want you to rest. I cooked. You take a warm shower. After, let's hold for 10 minutes. How does that feel? 7 keywords to remember. Want, rest, cook, shower, hold, duration. How does that feel? Clear, warm, choice forward. She smiled and nodded. Not persuaded. Permission to land. No pleading doesn't mean cold. It means not placing your worth on her answer. A man who unlocks this is ready to hear no without sulking or bargaining. Your lack of hesitation isn't because you're always right. It's because you've answered your internal questions. What I want, what I propose, my boundaries, and if she doesn't want it, I still respect, still warm, still me. That self-possession helps her step out of her head. In therapy, I have men practice short spine lines, 2 clauses, 1 breath. I want a 20-minute walk, then cook together. Or, I want you to put that down. I'll finish the rest. No justifying, no show and tell for points. Every extra word can smell like anxiety. Fewer words because your body already speaks. Loose shoulders, warm eyes, slow voice. Your body is your first sentence. One client, R, nailed it. What brings me into my body isn't sweet talk. It's how he stops. Stops to look me in the eye, to wait for my answer, to hear a whole yes, not a polite one. The pause is where trust sprouts. A man who unlocks this honors silence. Attraction doesn't come from pressure. It comes from shared rhythm. Rhythm needs space. About that safe frame, the spine of durable allure. He doesn't guess, he checks tempo. Let's use yellow tonight. 2 taps on my arm means slow down. If you say stop, I stop bureaucratic. Ask any nervous system that's been hurt. Those specific lines unlock the body. Safety deepens desire. It doesn't kill it. When we know where the brakes are, we dare to descend. Picture an ordinary scene. She snaps her laptop shut, shoulders high, eyes still scanning a phantom checklist. You don't yank her up. You kneel to eye level, rest your hand on the chair back, not her body, and say, I'm here. I'll handle the rest. Shower first or food first? You both lead and center her choice. A simple A-B question quiets overload. The body shifts gears. Stoically, self-mastery here looks like holding tempo when feeling surge. She hesitates. You slow, not press. She says, I'm tired tonight. You switch to care. Blanket, warm water, slow music, present silence. Not a failure, but an investment in trust. The nervous system remembers, and next time, next week, next month, her body opens faster because the memory leads. Nate, 41, changed everything by dropping whatever you want. Sounds kind, actually dumps decision weight on someone who's been deciding all day. He switched to two options. One, I cook pasta and we watch a movie. Two, a 20-minute walk and tea after. Your pick's still freedom, with a frame. The frame moves her from head to sensation. Now her body just chooses, not manages. One subtle note. The man who unlocks this listens with his eyes. Have her shoulders dropped? Is her breath deeper? Are her eyes less scanny? If physiology says not yet, don't grind forward. Half step back. Maybe 60 seconds of just breathing, a light touch. Kill a source of noise, phone, harsh light. You're leading without words, tuning the environment so bodies sink safely before sinking desire. Ultimately, unlocking doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts with your daytime credibility. On time, say less, do more, own mistakes, repair quickly, treat boundaries like habit. By night, you don't need to prove anything. Your presence is evidence. Then one very short line can carry long weight. I want you to rest in me tonight, if you want to. Then wait. If it's no, you smile, hold, and remain a harbor. If it's yes, you lead. Slow, steady, listening, until it's clear. She's no longer in her head. She's back in her body. That's less but solid. Fewer words, each with a spine. Fewer gestures, each lifts rather than presses. Fewer tips, far more virtue. And it's virtue, frame, tempo, respect that turns a once hidden door for many women. Letting go safely, where desire isn't a fall, but a soft landing into the arms of a man calm enough to let her be free. Think of your communication toolkit, like a small case by the bed. Not flashy, but it keeps the trip smooth and deep. Before, during, after you talk. Not interrogations, not procedures. It's a heartbeat in words. Clear, warm, repeated until both nervous systems recognize safety. Before touch, we light the room. Nora once admitted, I'm afraid to say it, I'll kill the vibe. I told her, the vibe dies when the body has to guess something too big. We created a 2-minute ritual. Face each other, hands together, eye contact, and 3 short lines. Want, limits, and stop signal. Want, slow tonight, lots of warm touch. Limits, no neck, nothing rough. Stop signal, 2 taps is yellow, slow or stop. Stop is red. Not a mood killer, liberation. The head stops guarding, the body starts opening. During intimacy, words shrink to keywords and tempo. A good leader doesn't fill the room with commentary. He listens with eyes and breath. Shoulders down, gaze soft. Whisper, good, and wait. One whole nod beats 10 compliments. If you catch hesitation, shallow breath, a sudden stiff hand, rescue it. Let's slow. Or simply stop, palm resting on back. Breathe together for 10 seconds. That's co-regulation. 2 nervous systems sharing one rhythm, so desire is supported by the body, not dragging it. Sometimes a yellow shows up midway. Not no, but adjust. That's where gear shifting matters. Reduce force, change tempo or position, or switch to care. Blanket, water, quiet holding. Doesn't that kill the mood? Number. It carves your name into safety memory. Next time, that very memory opens the body faster, deeper. Now for the step couple skip, aftercare. Think of it as the last carabiner on a climb. Not glamorous, but it lets you climb high. It's the closing loop that completes arousal arrow peak arrow landing. Without it, the body stays open too long. Tired, tender, misunderstanding. With it, desire compacts into trust. After you finish, don't scatter like you completed a task. Let the body say thank you first. Hold long enough for heart rates to drop, 30 to 90 seconds. Forehead to forehead, a few slow breaths. Then 3 small lines. What I'm grateful for, what I'd tweak next time, how do we care for each other now? Water, a warm towel, a quiet minute. The small things are the mortar in the wall of trust. Elena once said, "When he hands me water before I ask, my body knows I'm noticed." Being noticed is the spark for safe eroticism. I teach micro repair too. Say you rushed a beat. Don't brush it off. Name it. I hurried there. Thanks for tapping yellow. Next time I'll wait longer. No defenses, no long self-shaming. Repair small, warm, clean. Attachment science. Durable couples aren't fight-free, they repair well. If someone's shy to speak, borrow paper. 3 columns. Like slash, can slash don't. 5 lines each. Read slowly to each other. Mark the overlaps, circle the try-smalls. Tonight, try one thing with yellow/red ready. Writing feels unnatural? Natural is what the body earns after it has a map. For tender nervous systems, add 24-hour aftercare, a check-in text next day. How did last night feel? Anything you'd change? Not mere courtesy, it caps the jar so the memory file's under safe. Remember, the toolkit isn't about maximizing pleasure at all costs. It's about preserving the person inside the pleasure. Stoics call it virtue in the fire. When heat rises, we still own words, tempo, and boundaries, and stop before we hurt what we love. Practice the before, during, after ritual, and your desire won't just be hot, it'll be warm, and warmth is what lasts. Want a minimalist start? Before lights out, hold hands and say exactly 3 lines. I feel safe when my yellow is. After, I want to cuddle, make tea, just lie quietly. Then do exactly that. When the lights come back on, 1 minute of aftercare to each name one gratitude. 1 minute seems nothing. Those invisible minutes create big memory. Next time the body enters this room, it recognizes the scent of safety and opens softer, deeper without forcing. If there's one thing to etch in your mind, there is no universal formula for desire or letting go. Each person is an ecosystem: attachment history, body memory, culture, beliefs, rhythms, life stage, more complex than any internet tip. The same person may want clear leading today. Next week, under stress or in PMS, her body needs slower, softer, more reassurance. Personalization isn't trendy jargon. It's the minimum ethic when you touch someone's inner world. Lena grew up under heavy control. For her, leading has 2 faces. Done right, it's a warm embrace. Done wrong, it sets off old alarms. So the tone and tempo of an invitation decide everything. She needs a clear spine that's also open, an invitation with an exit. Know your partner's story and you'll rush less to apply a formula and patiently build new safe memories. Context speaks too. Ava, the SFCOO, says on big negotiation days she struggles to drop out of her head. She doesn't need stimulation, she needs a transition ritual. Screens off, warm light, familiar scent, a warm glass of water in hand. Only then does the body change gears. She isn't half-hearted. The door is different today. Those who love well see the door, not the wall. There are physiological differences as well. Some are sensitive to noise, smell, temperature. Some need movement to enter the body. Some want dim light, others full dark. For some, neck touch shuts them down. For others, it's a safety anchor. If you apply the standard script, lights off, R&B, wine, you'll miss the other person's neural map. Ask the simple night-saving questions. Is this lighting okay? Does this music help you get into your body or distract you? Anywhere off limits tonight? Remember, the same person changes. With sleep, nutrition, low stress, the door's wide. During deadline week, family conflict, little sleep, the door narrows. The window of tolerance explains this. Inside the window, social engagement turns on and the body connects. Outside it, we go hyper-aroused or hypo-aroused. No one is difficult. Some days the window is smaller. On those days, being led might mean being rested, blanket, warm shower, quiet cuddle, slow music, no emotional mountain climb. Culture and belief shape the experience too. Maya, raised in a conservative faith community, carried guilt tangled with desire. For her, leading needed redefinition, not who has power over whom, but who builds the frame for both. When he says, I want to lead and will use yellow-red, no is always respected, she hears a new definition. Leading is caretaking, not domination. Only then does her body allow the fall. How do we truly personalize, not just say the word? I give couples three plain questions. What gets you into your body fastest? Environment, tempo, specific touch. What are the early signs you need to slow? Tense shoulders, shallow breath, eyes drifting. Afterward, what kind of care makes tonight file as safe? Cuddle, warm water, silence, gratitude. Don't guess. Collect answers over time. Each time you listen and adjust, you lay a brick in the bridge of trust. The beautiful paradox. The more you personalize, the shorter your formula becomes, because you've built your own body language no outsider can read. For those who've been hurt, you may change your mind with context. Tonight's yes doesn't obligate tomorrow. Reliability isn't robotic repetition. It's timely honesty. I want less tonight. I just want to cuddle. That doesn't kill attraction. It protects it by keeping the body inside its window. A trustworthy man treats that info as a field map, not a personal rejection. Another example, R, 29, bartends late. After night shifts, her nervous system is still up. Her boyfriend Nate changed strategy. Instead of proposing intimacy right away, he leads a 7-minute landing. Warm shower, soft clothes, 2 minutes back-to-back breathing, warm water, 1 minute of quiet holding. Only when her shoulders drop and eyes stop scanning does he ask, what do you want now? Work context is nervous system context. Loving well means changing tempo, not forcing the song. Personalization also means honoring identity and preference. Not every woman wants traditional masculine-feminine leading. Some want rotating roles, some switch by season, some prefer androgynous subtlety. The right thing is what fits the two of you, not what gets the most likes online. Stoicism says, don't chase impressions. Stay loyal to the particular good of this relationship. Honesty, respect, responsibility. Keep a stance of small tests. Measure, adjust. Don't jump from 0 to 100. Offer micro steps, different lighting, a track of music, 20% slower, 2 minutes of holding first. Each try is a consent experiment, logged into safety memory. When that memory gets thick, something lovely happens. With this person, you open faster, deeper, with fewer words. Not because you found a hack, but because you built your own ecosystem where bodies are trusted, words are heard, and desire is guided by virtue rather than pressure. If you want an easy, personalized start tonight, try a 90-second ritual. Sit facing each other. Each answers one line. Tonight, what makes me feel safe is, and one line, my yellow is. Just those two. No analysis. It's enough for the body to know, in here, I don't have to act someone else's script. I get to be myself. And when each person gets to be themselves, both people's desire has room to grow. Softer, deeper, steadier. If I had to close this whole conversation in one breath, I'd say, especially to the men listening, understanding the dream of letting go doesn't make you a dominator, it makes you a harbor. When you grasp why a woman who's strong all day longs for a place to set the controls down at night, you stop trying to prove and start building the frame. Within that frame, desire stops being a push and becomes a free dance, where two people choose each other, minute by minute. But knowing isn't enough. The world is full of people who know the theory. What sets you apart are 3 words: live steady, long. Live these principles consistently, long enough for the other person's body to truly trust. Trust that her no will be honored. Trust that you stop at yellow. Trust that your few words carry weight. Trust that after intimacy, there's aftercare, warm water, kind silence, and thank you. First comes trust, then love. First trust, then depth. No shortcuts. The man who awakens this dream isn't loud. He's clear. When you walk in, you bring the quiet of self-leadership. On time, kept word, unhurried, no corner cutting. You make spine proposals. I want us or if you want it too. And you wait like the answer is music, not a test. You listen with your eyes, relaxed shoulders, slower breath. You don't drag anyone out of their head. You invite them back into their body. And if tonight the answer is no, you smile. Your love is bigger than one outcome. To the women watching, wanting to let go inside a safe frame doesn't make you less strong. It makes you human, with biology, a window of tolerance, and body memories that deserve respect. You owe no one consistency. Today's yes doesn't bind tomorrow. Courage here isn't endurance, it's truth. Slower. Hold me. Stop. Each honest line doesn't weaken allure, it builds trust, the only foundation that makes attraction last. Stoically, it all returns to one axis. Virtue under heat. When temperature rises, desire, expectations, fear of judgment, you still choose clarity, respect, responsibility. You separate what's yours, words, tempo, boundaries from what isn't. The other's mood, tonight's outcome. You make your part beautiful and let the rest be itself. That's freedom. And freedom is what makes Eros warm, not loud. So my call is simple. Be the one who awakens it through safety and respect. Tonight, skip the hacks. Do small, solid things. Write one promise you'll keep. Be on time, phones off, prep warm water. Make a spined invitation. I want Ashishin if you want it too. Agree on yellow/red in 30 seconds. And finally, real aftercare. Hold long enough for hearts to settle. Say one thank you. Share a sip of water. Men, I dare you to live these boring things for 4 weeks straight. You'll see. Durable attraction doesn't come from short highs. It comes from accumulated safety memory. When that memory is thick enough, you don't need to awaken anything. Your presence alone lets the other body exhale. Women, write your 3 openers. I feel safe when my yellow is. After, I want. Hand it to him. Ask him to read it out loud. That's not unnatural. That's how we build the natural, through language, listening, and the gentle repetition of small rituals. For both of you, take this away. The deepest desire doesn't need drama, it needs containment. When you both build the frame, keep rhythm, speak little and true, stop at the right time, and tend to each other afterward. The dream of letting go stops being a shameful secret and becomes a privilege of 2 grown-ups. That privilege warms daily life, lightens hard decisions, and gives your shared home the scent of safety everyone wants to come back to. If this moved you, leave one short line in the comments. What makes me feel safe is, maybe tonight one honest sentence opens a door you've been knocking on for years. And if you want to go further with me, language for boundaries, the art of repair, how to design a frame in 5 minutes, hit subscribe. I'll be here each week to remind you of one small thing that changes everything. We don't need to control each other to love each other. We need a frame where both of us are free.